Today we're going to show you how to replace the bellow, which is this rubber accordion style seal or boot on your cutting system. This is what this is what seals everything up when the cutting motor or the cutting height adjusts, from high to low. And Husqvarna recommends that you replace this every so many years, just because when it gets all dried out, it can get kind of brittle, just like a shock absorber in your car. So here where it flexes, it can start to crack and you can get moisture in there, you can get water in there if it's running through water puddles and stuff like that. Because this is an area that's on the bottom here and the water is being slung around by the cutting disc, it's an area that's prone to take on the water more so than anything on the top that's covered by the top cover. So this is something you definitely want to check on. And again, when it gets the grass caked on there, like this one here, this is one that we just replaced on another mower. Unless you get that spotlessly clean, it's hard to tell if there's any cracks in it or anything. So it's just rather be safe than sorry. Just replace it for all the more that it costs and all the more that it takes to do it. So we're going to show you right here now how to do this. And after you see us do it, you'll see that it's a pretty simple DIY project if you want to take it on and do it yourself. And it'll save you some hassle on down the road and, good peace of mind that your mower is nice and sealed up. So first thing we're going to do is we got to take this center cap out of here on our cutting disc. We got our T20 Torx bit here, and I always recommend using hand tools for this stuff because these are metal screws and they are threaded into plastic. So if you use a strong battery powered or electric power tool with the Torx bit in it, there's a good chance you can just zip them out of there so fast that you'll bring the plastic threads along with them. This stuff is not ridiculously over tight or anything like that, so hand tools, just easier to do and very simple. So there we go. We got our center cap, the 3 screws with it, then our shield here, take it off. Now the bearing assembly, you want that to be able to spin freely, but we got to take the cap out of here, or the cap screw out of here, and I'm sorry, socket head cap screw here. We got to take that out of here. You're going to need a 4mm Allen wrench for that. And then this bearing assembly will come out of here. So get our Allen wrench in there. And you want to make sure the ends of your Allen wrench aren't all rounded off, that they're still nice and flat so you don't round out the center of that screw. You're going to hold your cutting disc and just loosen that up. Take that out of there. Now you're going to pull this bearing assembly out of here. Sometimes they'll pop right up out. If they don't, what you want to do is put 2 of the screws back in there from your shield that you removed from here and use them to lift it up out of there. Now, while you're doing this project here, if you've never replaced this bearing assembly, or I should say the bearings in this bearing assembly, while you have it apart, it wouldn't hurt to replace that. Again, just for peace of mind, and while you're in there, it's an easy thing to do. Just slide that new one in there. So we got that all apart. Now our cutting disc, you got your 3 screws here with the T20 Torx head. Take them out. Again, you don't need any kind of, you don't need any power tools or anything to do this, just simple hand tools. These are actually threaded into the cutting motor shaft itself, but again, it's just as easy to use the a screwdriver like this or a T-handle, rather than power tools and not end up messing anything up accidentally. So, oh boy, this one had a bunch of stuff wrapped around it. This is a good time to get all this freed up and cleaned out of there. And now you're at the point where you want to clean everything up really good before you go pulling this boot off of there, because you don't want a bunch of this junk falling down inside the mower. So we're going to take and we're going to clean all this up, and you can see what I was talking about here. And also I have one that we just removed from another mower. When they're on the mower, it's almost impossible to get all of this dirt and debris off of there to give it a good sound checking for any kind of cracks or anything in it. So that's why it's just recommended to just replace it and be done with it. There's not a good way to get in there and push everything out like this to examine it real close, and then you can't even tell like if it's the dirt cracking off of the rubber or if it's the actual rubber cracking. So just go ahead and replace it. Now again, like I said, we're going to clean this all off, and then we'll come back to this project here and show you what to do after this. Okay, we cleaned off a bunch of the dirt here around this area of the bellow on our cutting motor. And now what we're going to do is there's 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, T20 Torx bit. We got to take them out of there. And of course, these are all full of dirt. So we're going to make sure to get the Torx bit down in there so we're actually getting a good grip on the screw so we don't strip it out. And we'll take these out. And again, here you've got steel screws going into plastic, so not a good idea to be using any kind of power tools on this. Sorry, they're shaking the bench, and that's why the camera's shaking around. You got a wiggle, get in there, get a good grip on it. There we are. So there's our 4 screws, and the reason why you want to do this with the mower laying down and not standing up or anything like that is because if you have it standing up or in any other position, the cutting motor can come flying out of there. And why you don't want that to happen is because the wires for it are running back there and connected to your main board. If they come out of there, then you got to split the entire mower apart and fix that, and possibly replace your cutting motor if those wires get damaged. So here we are. We have our cutting motor loose, and we need to get the bellow off of here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take and clean up this loose dirt right around here real quick. So with our cutting motor out, we wiped off some of the extra dirt we had around there. So we'd have just the minimal dirt going down into our mower. It's kind of tough to avoid all of it going in there. You know, you'll have little pieces of dirt and debris getting in there, but it's dry. That's one positive. So at any rate, when we go with this project, we're going to take the bellow off of here. You have to pull out on it because there's a lip that it seats into. So just pull out on it the whole way around as you lift up on it. And again, you don't want to disturb your cutting motor too much because it has the wires attached to the main board. Then you're just going to flip the bellow right off of your cutting motor, just like that. Leave the cutting motor there. You can leave it propped in the hole there, and that's it. That's your old bellow there. And again, you can see it was dirty. There was no way in the back there you're going to be able to check for cracks or anything like that. And get all the dirt off there to be able to see really well what was going on. So again, now you want to clean out all your dirt laying around here because the new bellow has to seal in around this lip here, and you want to make sure that's completely free of dirt. So we're going to take and we're going to wipe that out really well there. Get all that dirt out. Want all the dirt off of this plastic cup right here too, because that's what your cutting motor fastens to. Now we got our surface in under here nice and clean. The other thing we got cleaned up is our actual cutting motor itself. You got to get it nice and cleaned off of there. So we're going to wipe it down to get all this dirt off of the edge of it here where it seals up. And then we'll be ready to start putting everything back together. All right, we got our cutting motor here all cleaned up. Oh, this up here so you can kind of get a better look at the back side of it. See that all nice and shiny and clean. And now we're going to slide our new bellow over it. There's a sorry, shaking the bench again there. There's a large opening and there's a small opening on that bellow. The large opening is going to go against the chassis, and it has this heavy lip on here, and that's what's going to fit under the lip on the hole for your cutting motor. So you want to fit that part onto the cutting motor first. Just push it right on there. You don't really have to stretch it that much or anything. Just slide it right on over. There you go. And then you're going to get it tucked into the lip on the mower chassis. So this, you just want to get it sitting down in there, pull out on it, and let it kind of fall into place as you work on around there. There we go. And then you'll be able to feel in underneath there if you've got it in place or not. You know, it'll feel very kind of jumbled up if it's not in the correct way. So this is definitely in there, nice and flush. You can look in there and see everything from the side too if you're unsure of it. So you got that into place. Then your cutting motor can only go in one way because there's a little nipple there on it that has to go into one of these holes here in the chassis. So you're going to line that up, and you'll know that it's in place because you'll see the screw holes, and that little nipple there will go into place as well. So push all that down in there, and there we are. That's latched in, and we can see our screw holes down in there. So we'll put our screws down in there. Now I should also point out too, before you go to put that motor in there, you want to make sure that the bellow is pushed down past the lip on this cup here, so you don't have it, you know, you're not trying to fight it. You don't have it kind of you know, jumbled up and crooked on there. So just slide it the whole way down around there, around that plastic cup, before you go to put the motor down in, and then it'll make life a lot easier for you situating your cutting motor. And you just turn it around there like you saw me do until it kind of falls into place for you, and that's it. You know, then we'll put our 4 screws in and go back through the process of putting this back together, and it's all good to go. All right, we got the 4 screws for our cutting motor secured down in there. Our bellow is in place. Now it's time to put the cutting disc back on, and you're gonna stick that in there, get all the dirt and everything out of there, everything that's wrapped around the shaft of the motor and all that stuff out of there. We're gonna put that back on, and you want to line up your 3 screw holes there. Right there we go. With the 3 holes in your cutting disc, and screw that down. And now this is a really good time if you need to change your blades, because everything is open up there. And after you get this secured to the cutting motor, it'll make it very easy to hold this cutting disc in place and take those screws out to replace your blades. We're going to go ahead here and we're going to fasten down our cutting disc. Again, this is all small stuff that you're doing here, so you don't need you definitely don't want to use battery powered stuff to put this back together, because you can easily overdo these screws and crack that cutting disc. That thing can come flying apart. Then you can have all kinds of issues. And again, you're running most of these screws into plastic, so it's going to be very easy to strip them out. Heck, even running any of these screws here into that shaft on the cutting motor, you could easily strip them out. But there we go, we got that in. The cutting disc is on. Again, I said to you, if you had never replaced your bearing assembly and you're replacing that bellow, now would be a good time to replace that bearing assembly. So if you have one of them, you'll put a new one in. Just get this video, keep this video rolling. We're putting our old one back in there, because that's what we have laying here. So that's in there, spins nice and free. The surface of the bearing is flush with the shaft. And again, we need our 4mm Allen wrench. Put our screw in there. all this stuff here, we like to spin it backwards till it pops into place. And we know it's lined up. There we go. And we'll secure that. And now we lay our shield back on there. It's also a good time to clean off your shield. Or what you could do is, like on this one here, it's clean on one side, dirty on the other. You can flip it over and run it this way. You know, you already know that other side's clean in there. So we'll flip it over, put that on there. See that? It spins around. It doesn't hit any of the heads on the screws for the blades. Then our cap. Make sure we got all the dirt out of that. And then we'll put that on there. And that's it. That's what it takes to replace the rubber boot on your cutting motor, or the bellow as they call it. And again, it's something that should be done every couple years just to maintain a good seal on the lower chassis of your Automower. This was the process to do one on a 400 and 500 series Automower with the electric height adjustment. Now, it's not going to be much different to do it on a 300 series. 100 series could be a little bit different. Might be a little bit more involved. We'll try to get you a video of that sometime here. But anyway, this is 400 and 500 series. The non-all-wheel drive ones, you could probably do the same procedure for the most part on the all-wheel drives as well. Remember, try not to use power tools because you can strip this stuff out so easily, or just over torque it and break stuff. T20 Torx bit, 4mm Allen wrench, and when you pull the electric motor out, you don't want to go yanking on it. You don't want it to flop around because the wires are connected back here to the motherboard, so you want to be very delicate and very careful with it. You know, you don't want to keep spinning around and twisting the wires all up or anything. But you want to make sure everything's as clean as possible when you go to put it back together, so everything seals well and everything sits well with where it's supposed to be, so you can tighten it down and you don't have anything wobbling and vibrating as it's running in. Well, that's it. So hopefully this video was helpful to you. Again, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot to do this, especially now when you saw what to do there and we're giving you instructions on it. So this could be a DIY thing. You know, some year when you go to put yours away for the season, you want to take it apart and clean it up. There you go. You can do it, as you see, without splitting the whole mower open. Well, we got this all together, and after they're all back together, I always like to just give this a spin to make sure that that shield isn't hitting any of the screws that hold the blades on. That's good to go there. That's going to give you a nice quiet mowing job there. As always, if you're looking for parts for your Automower, such as any of the ones you saw us using here, the bellow, blades, bearing assembly, anything at all for your Automower as far as parts or accessories, shoot us an email at roboticmowerservices@gmail.com. You can also give us a call, 717-429-6767. I will warn you that we are very busy these days out in the field with installs and repairs and stuff like that. And you can always leave us a voicemail. Email is probably the best way, you know, for us to definitely get back to you one way or another. You can check out our Facebook page, Robotic Mower Services. You can also shoot us a message on there. We're on Instagram, Robotic Mower Services, and this YouTube channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to it. And I hope that we're able to help you guys out in some way, shape, or form, whether it's, you know, you need parts for your Automower, whether you're looking to buy a new Automower, or, you know, we can just help you out with some technical support and little tidbits of information like this to make your life a little bit easier. We really appreciate all your support, and thanks for watching.